audio because the last time I recorded it, I think the powers that be probably don't want me to put this video out. But I'm gonna put this video out. I'm gonna record this audio yet again. Must have been a mishap on my side. But this is gonna be a very, very serious video, guys. I'm gonna discuss the atrocities and the war crimes that were committed by the Nazis on the Eastern Front. Primarily with those death commandos, the Einsatzgruppen and the Einsatzkommandos and the Sonderkommandos and the commanders that were behind it. I'm going to be discussing what happened. I'm going to be discussing what ended up happening in the end, how they were prosecuted and tried, if they were prosecuted and tried. But let's get into the video. So, the fate of the Einsatzgruppen and the Einsatzkommandos at the Nuremberg trials. I watched a very good documentary. It was talking about the Einsatzgruppen and how they operated in the Eastern Front. The Eastern Front was on a completely different scale compared to the Western Front. 7,000 people died on D-Day. 7,000 people died on a particular beach on Omaha, but 7,000 people were dying every hour on the Eastern Front for years. Like 7,000 people on the Eastern Front is nothing. It happens every hour on the hour. So the Eastern Front was warfare on an unimaginable scale, just death and destruction everywhere people go. Like the amount of people that were killed, the amount of atrocities that were committed were basically just like it was basically like going outside and going for a stroll. It was that normal to these people. If you see death on a huge scale every day, every morning, you're gonna feel nothing. You're gonna become desensitized to these things. I'm serious. It's a very tragic occurrence what happened over there. But anyways, I watched a very good documentary on the activities of the Einsatzgruppen, and it was called the Einsatzgruppen, the Nazi Death Squads. It appears that Einsatzgruppe A, it was attached to Army Group North. Army Group North was its strategic goal was to capture Leningrad. That was an industrial hub for the Soviets. And, the Einsatzgruppe was following behind these army groups in these different regions to eliminate all of the undesirables, to eliminate the Jews, to eliminate the disabled people, to eliminate the Gypsies, to eliminate the Romanians, the Romas, not the Romanians, but the Romas, to eliminate all these people because, they were racially inferior. Even Himmler, he said that the Soviet soldiers would be compared to Untermenschen, which means subhumans in English, literally translated. And I almost forgot. I didn't forget, actually. I was just talking about Himmler. But Army Group B. Army Group B was to clean out Belarus and Central Russia. Einsatzgruppe B, which was following behind Army Group Center, they were to destroy and kill every Jew and every single undesirable element in Belarus and Central Russia. All the partisans kill them. That's their plan. Einsatzgruppe C was to clean out and destroy the northern and central Ukraine. Make it Judenfrei, Jew-free. The Baltic states were actually, but we'll get into that later on. Einsatzgruppe D was to clear out the southern Ukraine. Each Einsatzgruppe was split into Sonderkommandos and Einsatzkommandos under the leadership of a commander. They were ordered to kill Jews, communists, partisans. They fell under the jurisdiction of Heinrich Himmler. He was the Reichsführer SS. What's particularly eye-opening about this documentary was the enthusiasm and the fervor and just just the straight up, enthusiastic nature that these Ukrainians and Latvians and Lithuanians and Estonians, these auxiliaries, they were so eager to kill and murder thousands of people. They were made up of and split into shooting squads. These people were under the supervision of the Einsatzgruppen. The Einsatzgruppen didn't even have to kill these people. They just ordered the local population, gave them weapons, and decided to tell them, oh, go ahead and kill these people for me. And they would undress them. They would take their clothes off and make them undress, get into pits. There was the Soviets, they were using a pit as a fueling, as a fuel depot. And the Nazis transformed that into giant pits where they would just bury these dead bodies over there. If you look at the Babi Yar massacre, that was a very disturbing moment in history. A total of 33,000 Jews were killed in 2 days. 100,000 Jews were killed altogether. And that's a conservative estimate, which is on the lower end of the scale, the minimum estimate. Maximum estimate was 150,000 that were killed in later dates. The reasoning behind killing this many Jews was because there were some explosions because of delayed fuses that set off some dynamite, and the Nazis used that as justification because of those actions that were committed by the NKVD to justify killing and murdering thousands of children and thousands of Jews. I mean, later on in this documentary, one of the prosecutors, they asked the one of the commanders of the Einsatzgruppe, why did you kill why did you kill the women and children? They said that because the children, if they kill the parents, then the children would grow up to resent the Reich, and then they would have to be killed also because they would become future enemies of the Reich. So they were only just looking out for the future interests of Germany. And the prosecutor was thinking to him, was in a conundrum. He was like, as if it is normal to kill thousands of innocent children. The Einsatz commander, he said it as such a matter of fact that it was normal to kill these people. He said he would do it again. He doesn't mind. He would do it again. Like, towards the end, well, the thing that really sickened me in part 4 of the documentary, when they were just looking through how these people, the Einsatzgruppe, how they were convicted and they were tried. It was that most of the Nazis on trial, and what surprised, not really surprising, but what I found was that most of the Nazis on trial, they either lied about the massacre, they straight up said they weren't there, or they said they were just following orders. That's another thing. Most of the commanders of these mass murderers, they had doctor's degrees. Many of them were lawyers. Some of them were doctors. Rush, he was one of the ISIS commandos that died of Parkinson's at the Nuremberg trials. 24 of the Einsatzgruppen were put on trial. 2 were sentenced to jail for life, 6 to shorter terms, and 14 to death by hanging. Only 4 were executed, guys. 10 other death sentences were commuted. They ended up only serving 5 years. Think about that. Out of 3,000 mass murderers, only 4 were executed. The rest were basically given a slap on the wrist. The main reason for this being was that the Americans, they needed West Germany to be very powerful. They needed them to be very powerful because the Cold War was looming, and they needed these people to act as a bulwark against the Soviets because they were in a Cold War. So they needed to, have a, how do you say it, like a curtain, a shield against communism. And also the German public opinion was that the Allies were delivering their own version of victor's justice, and that the massacres were just Allied propaganda. But think about this for a second. I imagine I have a Jewish neighbor and I'm living in Germany in 1943 or throughout the war. All of my friends are being killed and murdered and disappearing. All these people that I used to play football with in the backyard, people that I used to go to the bakery store for to buy some bread. The bakery owner, he's dead, he's gone, he's disappeared. He used to be Jewish. All these people have a commonality, a common denominator, that they're Jew. They all died. And then I'm German and I'm thinking to myself, oh, those people were just sent to Madagascar. Oh, nothing happened to them. They somehow disappeared. It's none of my business. Like, wow. The German people were also guilty for this. That's what I believe. I mean, you guys don't have to tell me anything. That's just what I believe. But nothing happened to the majority of these mass murders. You know, it kind of makes me sick that they were able to go free. But yeah, man, I'm out. Tell me what you guys think. Oh, peace.